7:15, the defense wrapped up its redirect yesterday, so now it's time for something a little different. And you don't see this everywhere. The last time I was on jury duty, I remember they offered this to us. We didn't get a chance to do it because the case wrapped up, was thrown out or something before we had a chance. But in Arizona here, the jury is allowed to ask questions. The defendant, or maybe questions in general, for all I know. I think
to clear up some things that they might have had all along while listening to testimony.
So we talked about this in our meeting yesterday. It's pretty unique how it works. Not too many states around the United States do this.
No, but Celeste, you're going to explain how this all is going to work today, right?
Yeah, and they've been writing these questions down, guys, since Jodi Arias actually took the stand. And they can write these questions down. They wake up this morning, they have a question, they can ask it. You know, while the judge is speaking, asking some questions, if they have a follow-up, there's a possibility they could write it down and ask a follow-up and hand it over to the judge, who will eventually read these questions. We, of course, have defense attorney Dwane Cates here with us to kind of break down this process. And you said Arizona is just one of a couple.
Yeah, there's not very many states that allow jury questions, and Arizona is one of them. And it's a really good thing. It helps trial lawyers because in the middle of the trial, you get to look into a window of what the jurors are thinking, and it's really helpful.
This is going to get interesting, too, I think, because you said just like with an attorney, you know, they can object to some of these questions. You said maybe half of them will get thrown out, possibly?
Probably half of them. There's over 100 questions. What happens is the same rules apply to the jurors as applies to the attorneys. So it can't be hearsay. It has to be relevant. And they're going to go through each question one by one with the judge this morning. They're going to spend the morning doing that with the judge, deciding which questions will be asked, which ones won't be asked. Now, and even sometimes the judge will reword the question a little bit to make it legal to ask.
And this is something that can make or break a case. I mean, this is not something that's taken lightly.
It can, and in one of my trials, it actually probably lost me the case, was a juror question. They thought of something that I didn't think of and that the prosecution didn't think of, and they asked the question, and the witness answered it, and it was really bad for my case. And so it can be really important.
So take us through the process, Dwane. So today, there'll be 18 jurors, because there's 18. 12 will ultimately make this decision. But right now, there's 18. And what will happen today?
Well, I mean, nothing with the jurors really is going to happen today. There's 18 jurors. At the end of closing arguments, what they'll do is they have to get, only 12 jurors will make the decision. So they'll put all the juror numbers in a hat or a bucket, and then they'll draw 6 out. Those 6 will go home, but they still have to not watch news because they can be called back if somebody gets sick. They're still alternate jurors.
This will happen today, maybe tomorrow, but that does not mean this is the end of the trial. I mean, it could potentially, but you said the defense has a couple more witnesses that they may call.
They do, and they won't pick which jurors to send home until the end of the trial, till after closing arguments, which, you know, there's probably a couple witnesses for the defense. The prosecution gets to call rebuttal witnesses, and we don't know how many they're going to call. And then we have closing arguments. This could last through the end of the month.
Wow. And so when we talk about those, those next witnesses, we're thinking maybe a domestic violence expert.
Yeah, it's going to be a domestic violence expert and a psychologist. And they're going to be really, really important to the defense case because the domestic violence expert's going to explain Jodi's behaviors. And everybody keeps, talking about, wow, she's doing all these weird things. The expert's going to explain why.
Great. Dwane Cates, defense attorney here in the Valley. Appreciate your time today.
Thanks,
and guys, I got to tell you, Arizona is just one of a couple states that do this. This is really crucial to the case. It's going to be interesting to see what type of questions they ask and if they have any follow-up questions that they come forward with. So it'll be an interesting day to watch this case.
Absolutely. 100 questions you said that the jury has?
More than 100, yep. And the judge will ask those questions with the jury there in the courtroom.
When you think that the defense and the prosecution has covered every aspect, every detail of how this played out.
Yeah.
Which, I guess, if you look at it on the other side, is 100 questions. This jury takes their job very serious, which we hope that they would when, you've got life or death at stake right now.